At 28, she became the youngest dragon on Dragon's Den. By 35, she was running a billion-dollar company. Michele didn't take the traditional path. A Canadian tech entrepreneur and investor, she co-founded Clearco, a Fintech company that's completely reimagining how startups raise money, replacing venture capital with data-driven funding. She wasn't born into wealth. She didn't have insider connections. What she did have was hustle. From launching a sustainable coffee company in university to building one of the largest e-commerce investors in the world, Michele's story is one of grit, vision, and unstoppable momentum. While others waited for permission, she built. While others played it safe, she took risks. Michele wasn't just interested in joining the business world, she wanted to change it. This is the story of how Michele went from pitching ideas to funding thousands of them. It's about turning frustration into innovation, breaking the rules when the rules no longer work, and creating a future where more founders get a chance to grow. Because this isn't just about business, it's about daring to dream bigger, act bolder, and believe that your wildest ideas are worth betting on. Michele didn't wait for the right time to become an entrepreneur. She just started. While still a student at Queen's University, she launched her first venture, a zero-waste cafe that focused on sustainability long before it was mainstream. It was bold, innovative, and ultimately unsustainable. The cafe failed, but for Michele, that wasn't the end. It was the beginning. The experience taught her a valuable business lesson early. Great ideas mean nothing without strong margins and a scalable model. It also taught her something more personal, that failure isn't something to avoid, but something to learn from. Undeterred, Michele pivoted. Her next venture was Buytopia, an e-commerce site launched during the height of the daily deals boom. While countless competitors came and went, Buytopia endured. It made money, built a customer base, and gave Michele hands-on experience in everything from operations to digital marketing. It was a crash course in surviving in a competitive space and thriving when others folded. But even then, she wasn't done learning. Michele went on to experiment with other ventures, including SnapSaves, a mobile couponing app that eventually caught the attention of Groupon and was acquired. Each startup came with new problems, new failures, and new insights. Instead of letting those challenges discourage her, Michele used them to build sharper instincts and stronger strategies. Her track record, resilient, scrappy, and smart, earned her a seat on Dragon's Den at just 28 years old. Suddenly, she wasn't just building companies, she was helping fund and mentor others. As the youngest dragon in the show's history, and one of the few women, she stood out for more than just her age. She brought hustle, empathy, and first-hand knowledge of what it really takes to start something from nothing. Michele's early years weren't defined by overnight success. They were built on failure, feedback, and a refusal to give up. Her journey proves that failing forward isn't just a strategy, it's a mindset. You don't need to get it right the first time. You just need the courage to start, the humility to learn, and the resilience to keep going. While sitting on the set of Dragon's Den, Michele kept hearing a familiar story. Founders would walk in with promising businesses, strong revenue, loyal customers, and real momentum. But they were handing over massive slices of equity just to cover digital ads or inventory. To Michele, it didn't make sense. Why were entrepreneurs giving up ownership just to fund routine growth expenses? Why were they sacrificing long-term control for short-term cash? That question lit a spark. She realized traditional venture capital was built for a different era, an era of slow growth, tech-heavy startups, and exclusive networks. But the new generation of founders, especially in e-commerce, didn't always need guidance or connections. They needed fast, flexible capital that didn't dilute their ownership. Alongside her co-founder, Andrew, Michele launched a bold experiment, Clearbank, later renamed Clearco. The idea was radical. Fund businesses based on data, not pitch decks. Instead of asking for meetings or personal connections, Clearco asked for access to real-time performance metrics, ad spend, revenue, growth rates. Then came the magic. Within days, founders could receive offers for capital, no equity taken, no strings attached. Clearco became a lifeline for startups who didn't fit the traditional mold. Women-led companies, immigrant founders, and bootstrapped brands suddenly had a new path forward. Skepticism came fast. Investors questioned the model. Banks didn't get it, but founders got it right away. The model worked. Clearco grew at lightning speed, providing over $2 billion in non-dilutive funding to more than 7,000 companies across the globe. It became a game changer, especially for those who had historically been shut out of venture capital circles. Michele's conviction was simple: the future of finance should be inclusive, data-driven, and built around the people actually doing the work, not just those with the right handshake. What started as a pattern she noticed on a TV set became one of the most disruptive ideas in fintech. Michele didn't ask permission to fix a broken system. She built something better, giving founders everywhere the power to grow on their own terms. Michele didn't just build a company, she shattered expectations along the way. In an industry long dominated by older, male, Ivy League-trained CEOs, Michele redefined what leadership in fintech could look like. Young, female, bold, and unapologetically entrepreneurial, she led Clearco with vision and urgency. Under her leadership, Clearco scaled rapidly. It expanded into new markets, launched innovative products, and struck key partnerships with global platforms. When the company reached $1 billion valuation, achieving unicorn status, it was more than a business milestone. It was validation that you could rewrite the rules of startup funding and that doing so could unlock opportunity for thousands. But Michele's mission didn't stop at metrics. She used her platform to advocate for women in business, challenge outdated ideas of who belongs in boardrooms, and champion smarter, data-driven funding models that level the playing field for underrepresented founders. Even as Clearco grew, Michele remained close to her roots. She didn't retreat into a C-suite bubble. She kept mentoring, investing, and showing up for the startup ecosystem, offering not just capital, but the kind of insight only a fellow founder can provide. Michele's story is a masterclass in what happens when you stop asking for permission and start building. She proved that the mold doesn't matter, the mission does. And when you stay focused on solving real problems with relentless energy, success doesn't just follow, it scales. Michele didn't just build a successful company, she reshaped an entire industry. In a world where tech founders were often cut from the same cloth, male, Ivy League educated, and venture-backed, Michele stood out. She was young, female, and unapologetically unconventional. And rather than trying to fit into the mold, she broke it. As the co-founder of Clearco, she pioneered a new kind of startup funding, fast, data-driven, and founder-friendly. Her mission wasn't just to fund companies, it was to fundamentally change who gets funded in the first place. Clearco's model removed traditional gatekeepers from the equation. No more relying on pitch decks, warm introductions, or personality-driven investment meetings. Instead, founders connected their real-time business data, revenue, ad spend, growth metrics, and if the numbers made sense, Clearco invested. It was a radical shift in how capital flowed. No equity taken, no board seats demanded, no slow decision-making, just fast, fair funding based on merit. Under Michele's leadership, Clearco hit $1 billion valuation and funded over 7,000 businesses, distributing more than $2 billion in capital. Many of those businesses were led by women, people of color, and founders outside of major tech hubs, people who had been historically overlooked by traditional venture capital. Clearco became a lifeline, especially for e-commerce and digital-first companies that needed growth capital but didn't want to give up ownership to get it. But Michele's impact went beyond the numbers. She redefined what strength, leadership, and innovation look like in the tech and finance world. She used her platform to speak out on the importance of inclusive entrepreneurship, calling out biases in the system and urging others to rethink who they invest in and why. Even after achieving massive success, she remained closely connected to the startup community, offering not just funding, but mentorship, experience, and hard-earned wisdom. What makes Michele's journey so powerful is that she never waited for change. She became the change. She built $1 billion company not by playing the game, but by rewriting the rules. And in doing so, she gave thousands of founders a shot at building their dreams on their own terms. Her story is a reminder that real disruption doesn't come from following trends. It comes from seeing what's broken and having the courage to build something better.